The easiest way for us to get to know the brain and its effect on behavior is to learn about some of the main structures and how they relate to the brain's functions. The brain can be thought of as divided into regions and subregions connected by networks. In fact, the brain can be divided into three major regions: the forebrain, midbrain, and the hindbrain, connected to the rest of the nervous system by the spinal cord. The brain stem, shaped like a widening stalk, is made up of the midbrain and the hindbrain. It connects the spinal cord to the forebrain or upper brain. The brain stem receives input from the body and sends input back to the body to regulate basic processes such as the functioning of our heart and lungs. It controls reflexes and involuntary processes such as breathing and heart rate. The brain stem is partly responsible for our fight, flight, or freeze response when we are experiencing stress. The limbic system spans the forebrain and the midbrain and is located just beneath the cerebellum, the major region of the forebrain. The limbic system is responsible for our emotions as well as many higher mental functions, such as the formation of memories. The limbic system matures over time. Let's look at three of its structures: the hypothalamus, the amygdala, and the hippocampus. The hypothalamus is the structure responsible for controlling our body temperature, thirst, hunger, sleep, circadian rhythm, or sleep-wake cycle, moods and emotions, stress reactions, and the production of many of the body's essential hormones that help control different cells and organs. The amygdala is a small almond-shaped structure located close to the hippocampus in the frontal portion of the temporal lobe. It is well known for its importance in analyzing the emotional significance of events, perceiving emotion, happy, sad, or scared, and expressing emotion. So when you experience highly charged emotional reactions, such as seeing a dog that is running towards you, looking as if he may bite you, it is your amygdala that is being activated. The amygdala is present at birth but undergoes significant structural and functional development across infancy and early childhood. The hippocampus has a unique shape similar to that of a seahorse and is responsible for the storage of long-term memories as well as for the memory of the location of objects or people. We would not be able to remember where we parked our car in a parking lot without the work of the hippocampus. The hippocampus develops gradually in our early years and continues to grow new connections throughout our lives. The cerebral cortex is the outer layer of the cerebellum, the largest part of our brain. It is located in the forebrain and sits above the brainstem in the very front of the brain. The cerebral cortex is divided into four different lobes: frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital lobes. It is made up of tightly packed neurons, and it is where the brain's most advanced activities such as planning and decision-making take place. The cerebral cortex is not fully developed until a person is in his or her mid-20s. This is important because we cannot expect children to be able to perform these more advanced tasks until this area of the brain is more fully developed. The frontal lobe is responsible for decision-making, such as what to eat and drink, as well as for critical thinking. This is where personality is formed and where we carry out higher mental processes, such as planning. The parietal lobe is the part of the brain that processes sensory information. It is where information such as taste, temperature, and touch are integrated or processed. This processing happens almost instantaneously. A person would not be able to feel sensations of touch and temperature and would even be partially or completely unaware of his own body if the parietal lobe were damaged. The temporal lobe is responsible for hearing and selective listening. It receives sensory information such as sounds and speech from the ears. It is also key to being able to comprehend or understand meaningful speech. This lobe is special because it makes sense of all the different sounds being transmitted from the sensory receptors of the ears. The occipital lobe enables us to correctly understand what our eyes are seeing. These lobes have to be very fast to process the rapid information we are taking in through our eyes. Just as the temporal lobe makes sense of auditory information, the occipital lobe makes sense of visual information so that we are able to understand it. If our occipital lobe were impaired or injured, we would not be able to correctly process visual signals.